Welcome back. We are starting from the beach section. We have last time died, and it automatically put us back here. So you run to the shore. It takes some time before you finally emerge from the woods, but finally you do it. How much time, you ask? I cannot answer that. Did I not say that time had begun to lose all its meaning? The forest is behind you now, at least, and all the awful nightmares that lurk within it. It is still cold, though, and still foggy. It is still dark, too. The sun has yet to rise. You can see the moon more clearly now as it hangs above your head, round as any pearl or orb or crystal ball. The moonlight shines down upon the vertiginous cliffs which plummet sharply downwards to an array of sharp, spiky rocks below. You felt, upon escaping the woods, a degree of hope, but the sight of these weather-blasted cliffs gives you pause. You inhale. Then you frown. I don't think I can really frown in this avatar. It's not picking anything up. Now, what are you to do? You did not think this plan of yours through very well. I don't know why I struggled on that. Not that you had had much time to plan this in the first place. There is little in the way of civilization here. The cliffs are far from the village. How far you do not know, and you cannot see any houses. Where exactly will you rest your weary head, and what of your weary legs? Fitfully, you look around. There is nobody to your east, nor is there anybody to your west. There is no point in looking south, that is the way you came, and when you look to the north, the world falls away from you. The cliffs are too steep to scale, and it's too dark. Naturally, there is not a soul here to help you. You are on your own. You feel so overwhelmed you could very well cry. You do not cry, however. You know that tears have never helped anyone. You got yourself into this mess, now you need to get yourself out of it. It is with this thought in your mind that you inhale a lungful of salty oceanic air. Then you begin your exploration in earnest. You keep away from the edge of the cliffs, afraid that you might slip and take a sudden, unfortunate tumble into the abyss below. You are not as attached to your mortal body as some humans are, but you do not want to die. You still care for yourself, if only a little. And it is this sense of self-preservation which compels you onwards. You glance this way and that, depressing the tall grass beneath your shoes as you search for a place of shelter. Surely there must be somewhere. You cannot see any likely-looking settlements, but what is that over yonder? Could that be a roof? You hurry onwards, hope budding anew in your heart until, at long last, you reach your destination. There is a house, after all, out here in the wilds, though it doesn't, at a glance, look very welcoming. I'm curious because in the castle, we learned that, or maybe we learned it in the forest, but we learned for sure in the castle that there is a plague affecting the entire world, which is why, like, everyone's dead. But the princess managed to survive in the castle. I wonder how someone's gonna survive here on the beach. The solitary house that you have discovered, not so far from the cliffs, is rather unremarkable. It is so small and squat that you cannot imagine it contains within it more than one floor. You cannot even imagine that it contains much more than one room. Though it is dark, it is not dark enough to mask the cottage that has something of a slant to it. It is leaning listlessly to one side like a drunken sailor. The thatched roof, meanwhile, which tops the dwelling, has certainly seen better days. There is a hole in the thatch. There are several holes, in fact, and parts of it look particularly bare, almost bald. Hopefully my voice doesn't sound too horrible. I had no idea how difficult it would be to talk for this much, to make a video every other day, which is my goal. Because I don't talk much in real life. I'm pretty shy. So yeah, this is a lot more talking than I have done in a long time. That is rather concerning. Should it rain, you will not be properly protected from the elements. Can you really stay the night in such a place? You have some misgivings, but do your misgivings matter, really, when there is nowhere else to go? It is not as though you have any other options. It is with a sense of defeat, therefore, that you approach the cottage, which sticks out of the earth like a tombstone. Part of you wants to turn back, but you know that would be foolish. The windows of the cottage are dark, but that does not necessarily mean it is empty. Rather late at night, after all, whoever lives here, if indeed anybody lives here, might be asleep. You cannot imagine the owners of this cottage will appreciate being roused so very late at night. You cannot let yourself worry too much about these small details, however, otherwise you will never get anywhere. You swallow. The taste of the salty breeze is pungent in the back of your nostrils. Then you rap the knuckles of your right fist on the door. You rap quietly at first, but you do not hear the result shuffling inside the cottage. Perhaps you did not use enough strength. Emboldened, you rap your knuckles on the door for a second time, more loudly this time. You wait for a few moments, but still you cannot hear anything. Perhaps the cottage is unoccupied after all. You knock for a third time, then wait. The third time is, as they say, the charm, but for all that, your knocking goes unanswered. Well, nobody can say that you did not try. More intrigued now than anxious, your fingers find the handle of the door. You pull it down, and to your surprise, it yields easily. The door swings back for you as if by magic. What? You opened a door. What do you mean magic? It feels almost as if this was preordained. You step foot inside the cottage, which is very dark, and glance around. It is hard to see given the lateness of the hour, but the cottage's interior is about as inspiring as its exterior, which is to say, not very. It is every bit as small and cramped as you fancied when you observed it from the outside. There are a few cupboards which line the walls, a wood fire which has since been extinguished, and a straw pallet on the floor which must function as a bed. Okay, if there's an extinguished fire and a straw pallet serving as a bed, I'm guessing this is someone living here. I feel like, though, if everyone's dead, wouldn't you just, take someone's house that's in much better condition and live there? Or maybe they're living here because it's safe from whatever I was running away from. Your search is unsuccessful, however, when it comes to trying to locate other humans. You cannot find another soul. Surely that is to your benefit, though. If nobody else lives here, then you might as well make yourself at home. Yeah, I don't think nobody else lives here. Or as home as it can be, I suppose, in a small, cramped cottage such as this, with holes in the roof. You close the door behind you, then approach the straw pallet. All of a sudden, you feel incredibly weary. The tiredness that assails your limbs is absolute, so intense it overcomes the last of your concerns. You settle down upon the straw pallet, yawning as you do. It is not comfortable, but being able to lie down eases some of your aches and pains. Lying down, even on an uncomfortable makeshift bed such as this one, is better than standing. It is far, far better than running. Your eyelids fall shut, your lashes melting together. Oh no, that sounds awful. And soothed by the sounds of the wind and the distant rolling of the waves, you fall asleep. Then you begin to dream. It is not uncommon, of course, to dream. The best and worst of us do it, from queens in their castles to peasants sleeping on the straw. Why, who is to say that you have been observed tonight? So, who is to say that all you have observed tonight has not, in a sense, been a dream of its own? Would that make your nighttime fancies, then, a dream inside a dream? Perhaps our dreams are empty, hollowed things that stack inside one another like little wooden dolls. Is that not whimsical, though? Is that not a whimsical thought? How very droll. Your dreams, however, cannot be called whimsical, and neither are they particularly droll. They are not pure fabrications, as dreams sometimes are, fleeting fancies which can never come to pass. Your dreams are of rather more pernicious sort. Your dreams are that you at the conservatoire, with your red hair— I have red hair, this is news— tied back into 2 prim, proper braids. You are walking through the courtyard, clutching your books to your chest as you make your way to the library. Your head is bowed so as to not look at the faces of your passing classmates. You do not want to meet their eyes. These girls, with their sensible braids and their sensible shoes, are merciless. You hunch your shoulders together in this dream of yours so as not to draw their attention, but alas, it is not enough. You stumble, clumsy thing that you are, and you fall, and just like that, all eyes are upon you. They start staring at you. They are laughing at you. You lay there on the ground by the fountain, your books scattered and your skirt in a woeful state of disarray. Your knee hurts. Is it bleeding? You examine your injured leg, trying not to cry, and as this transpires, you hear a voice. One of your classmates is calling out to you. She has acknowledged you. You look up shyly, tears beating in your eyes, at the girl taller than you and prettier and much more refined. She extends her hand towards you. Does she mean to help you? It cannot hurt to try, can it? Hesitantly, you reach out and accept her offered aid. Her fingers curl around yours tightly, perhaps too tightly. Her nails dig into your skin. It hurts. Deftly, the girl pulls you to your feet. Your legs feel weak from your fall, and your knee is still aching, still bleeding. You stumble, feeling out of sorts, but you are not afforded much of an opportunity to gather your bearings. The girl's hands are on your shoulders. She is laughing at you. Then she is pushing you. The sound of the fountain and the running water which drums against its basin is all of a sudden very loud. It is overwhelming. It surrounds you. Then it engulfs you. It is cold as ice. You cannot breathe. The rushing of the water continues, echoing in your eardrums over and over, and then, no. You do not want to remember this. What good will it do? It is in the past where the past ought to remain. You are never going back, not even in your dreams. It is this determination which forces you back into the world of the waking with a start. You gasp like a fish as you sit upright, your eyes unnaturally wide. You feel wearied from a lack of sleep, and with half-lidded eyes you glance about. It is still dark inside your cottage, the sky visible from beyond the window splashed, still with stars. How long were you asleep? You are not sure. Your dream was so very detailed, and it really did feel like you had been transported into a different time, into a different place. When you inhale, you can taste rank, fetid water in your mouth. Tentatively, you pat yourself down, your fingers trailing against the front of your uniform. So vivid was your dream, you half expect to find your clothes are damp. This is not the case, however. You are, in fact, perfectly dry. I feel like I could make a joke here, but, Well, now what are you to do? Will you go back to sleep? That sounds like the best option available to you. You are very tired, but your senses feel too overwrought all of a sudden for sleep. You do not think you could bear it. On unsteady legs, you rise to your feet, then stand by the window. You look out to the starry sky and to the pitted moon which hangs amongst them, and you frown. You can hear the wind outdoors howling like an injured animal, and more softly the ebb and flow of the waves as they meet the cliffs. But that is not all. What is that sound? Why, it is almost like singing. It is gonna be a mermaid for sure. First it was a vampire? I mean, kind of. They were biting my neck, but like they were also kind of just like eating me. Maybe they're all gonna be like facsimiles of mythical creatures, but actually just humans, right? So the first person was like really close to being a vampire, but she was actually just human, and she was like eating people instead of drinking their blood, because you can't really do that without like the special powers or whatever. This person, my guess, my prediction is going to be that this person is like a normal person, but they're going to act like a mermaid, meaning, well, I guess singing and then luring me in. And I don't, what do mermaids do after they lure you in? Just kill you? I don't actually know. That's my guess. They're going to act very mermaid-like. Oh, drown you, right? Anyways, we'll see. The voice is far away enough that you cannot pick out any individual words, nor the individual syllables, but there is a haunting quality to it all. The singer, whoever they are, possesses quite the pretty voice, high and clear like a bell. The song is a melancholy one which stirs your heart. Curiosity takes root inside you, as it did during that fateful day you found that book in the library. Logically, you know you should not go outdoors to seek the source of that singing, but emotionally, that is another matter altogether. You really should have learnt your lesson by now. True, but loneliness is a strong motivator, which I suppose is the theme of the game, that you will trust people you shouldn't trust because you are lonely. Yeah. Anyways, you should know better than to go out sticking your nose in business which does not concern you, but naughty little girls such as you never do learn. You cross the old fisherman's cottage as though in a dream, and then reach for the handle of the door. The handle depresses easily enough. Me too, handle. Beneath your grasping fingers, and the door opens with a click. The rest of the world yawns before you, framed in the doorway, all of it bathed by moonlight. You thought it was cold in the old cottage, but it is colder still now that the door is open. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. An unpleasant wind rushes forth to meet you, knifing mercilessly through the fabric of your uniform. You look across the cold on it. Inhospitable landscape, your fingers clenched into fists at your sides. Then you step out into the unknown. You canvass the cliff face, led by nothing more than that luxurious singing. So haunting and ethereal its voice, as it hangs on the breeze, it would be enough to send 1,000 ships off to war. You keep walking into the night until you reach the very edge of the cliffs, where they drop downwards into empty air. You ought not go any further, but the voice has yet to cease. You can still hear it echoing inside your head. It compels you to act. Yeah, very mermaid-coded, or just a mermaid. You look down at the shore, which seems like a dizzying distance away, but then out to the ocean, which is breaking against the scattered rocks below. Your eyes narrow with determination. Then you take a step towards the cliff. The cliffs are steep and the rocks below them are sharp. You can see them glinting in the darkness, their tips jagged like the teeth of hungry predators. The cold wind blows, rocking your hair, and you shudder from it. Your shoes were not built for scaling cliffs, and your heels do not have much in the way of purchase, particularly not when the cliffs are so steep. Clinging to the cliffs is no small feat, yet you are determined to ease yourself down to the shore, in one piece preferably. The wind is so powerful it feels as though there is something deliberately malicious to it. You wonder, during your descent, if it means to knock you off your perch on purpose, to cast you down to the rocks below. Well, if that's what it wants, then you refuse to give it the satisfaction. You can be awfully stubborn at times, and now is one of them. You continue to climb, how long have you been at it now, until at long last your feet meet the shoreline below. You have made it, and you did not sustain too many injuries. Your palms are throbbing, yes, after the gripping of those rocks, and you might have a few cuts, but your wounds are of a shallow and superficial sort. Things could have been worse. You flex your fingers. They feel uncomfortably numb and cold alongside it. Your skin is prickling, but at least you can still feel discomfort. At least it is still attached to your bones where you ought to be, your vital organs concealed within the hollow cavity of your body. You have a lot to be thankful for. And I can be thankful for the fact that I've got some Subaru powers of coming back to life at a previous moment if I die, so I'm all safe for now. This night has, by and large, been quite successful. There are no longer any obstacles between you and the mysterious voice which lulled you outdoors. Now you must find them. You set off down the shore on the hunt of the singing voice which has captivated you so. You sidestep sharp, jagged rocks which jut out of the sand like teeth. The rocks which cannot be circumnavigated, meanwhile, you clamber over. And all the while the sound of the sea mingles with that of the singing. It provides an ethereal, haunting backdrop to your exploration, one which further adds to the surreality of your moonlight stroll. The waves lap against the shore, then recede shyly, pushed and pulled by the bleached white moon which hangs overhead. The oceans that you have seen in your library books were all blue as sapphires, but this ocean is different. It is so late at night it looks black instead. The undulating surface of the water reminds you of a mirror, though its depths are even deeper and much more mysterious. A sense of foreboding settles upon you, but you try to quash it. You will not let yourself be afraid. Oh! Okay, it is an actual mermaid. Okay, my theory was wrong. I thought the other person was just like not a real vampire and just like vampire themed, but I guess they were probably supposed to just be a real vampire. Well, that prediction was wrong, but my other prediction that it was going to be a mermaid was right. I guess it's pretty obvious. You're going to the beach, and we already know there's going to be someone who's going to lure us in and then kill us. Probably a mermaid. I have no idea who's going to be in the town to kill us. Maybe a werewolf? You round a corner, your feet unsteady at their sensible brown shoes, and then, at long last, you see her. There's a woman sitting upon a rock, out in the ocean. The woman's eyes are closed, and her lips are parted. Her expression is soulful. She is singing. Her hair, which is fair, we're rhyming now, flutters around her face like a shroud, which adds to her otherworldly aura. Her eyes might be closed, but her lashes are long and luxuriant like a doll's. Her lips, meanwhile, which are parted in song, are soft like freshly plucked petals of a flower. The callback to the flower. I wonder if there's other call-outs to the other stories that I just didn't know because I hadn't done the other stories yet. Her face is perfect, as are her proportions. Her neck is tall and slender like the stem of a flower. We're really calling back to this flower. As for the lower half of her body, meanwhile, it's nothing like anything you have seen before. It is here and here alone that the woman betrays your narrow human definition of beauty, for her legs are non-existent. Rather than two awkward appendages, this woman has instead the sleek, shimmering tail of a fish. What am I, reverse Ariel? What do you mean two awkward appendages? I want to be a fish. Is she not, then, a human? She cannot be, not with a tail like that. A different kind of tail, she could still be human. This unusual sight makes you gasp, and quite audibly at that. You do not mean to be rude, but you cannot help yourself. Humans tend to react poorly to things they do not understand. At least you do not scream, that would be even ruder. Oh my. You meant to observe the mermaid from a distance, but it would appear your shocked gasp was loud enough to attract her attention. The fish-tailed vision sitting upon the rock is looking at you. Her gaze is so piercing it feels almost as though she is looking through you. Your heart seems to stop inside your chest, as if by some manner of magical spell. You thought the mermaid pretty when you first observed her, sitting on that outcrop of a rock, her face turned in profile. Now she is looking at you, however, you can see that you were mistaken. She is not just pretty, she is beautiful, so much so it is almost unnerving. She looks as though she has stepped out of the pages of a picture book. She is simply too perfect to belong to this world. Perhaps she is some kind of vision, a waking dream, a hallucination? But no, she is none of those things. Her tail might be an impossible thing, but its scales look slick and wet regardless, like those of any fish one might find at the market. These scales are iridescent, and bathed beneath the light of the moon, they seem to almost glow. The sight of her rather takes your breath away. You look at the mermaid. She looks back at you. You prepare yourself, expecting some sort of altercation, but the surprise soon fades from the mermaid's face. Her lips, which once were pursed in a frown, now shift upwards. She is smiling. Then she says, in a refined sort of voice, My, it really is good to see a human again, particularly a human girl. I was beginning to fear that your kind had all disappeared, and I would no longer have anybody left to tell me of the world above the waters. My, this is quite an effusive greeting. The mermaid's introductory speech is positively brimming with the excitement of a sweet, girlish variety. She is rather more amicable than the fine polish of her syllables would make one suggest. You might be a well-bred lady yourself, Ulu, but with an accent to match, but you cannot help but feel overwhelmed. Anxiously you observe the mermaid, and you ask her what she means. What happened? As to that, I'm afraid I cannot say. I have been sitting on these rocks and singing for many, many nights, but nobody has come to see me. There have been no lovely humans for me to play with. I was beginning to wonder whether your kind had disappeared altogether. I feared some manner of calamity had occurred while I was slumbering beneath the water's surface, and your kind had been eradicated. Well, I mean, you're not wrong. You shudder, then reassure the mermaid to the contrary. Do I not know about this? Or am I gonna explain that not all of us are dead, but a lot of us are or something? I don't know. You do not know about the humans that she used to speak with, but you at least have not been eradicated. I'm guessing that because you can do these in any order, that they're not going to specifically talk about the plague or whatever it is that's killed everybody, because we don't know yet that everybody is gone, but we're like just sort of getting clues that everybody is gone, the same way with, all the people not being there in the castle. Yes, well, I can see that, the mermaid answers with a light laugh. It is really a relief. My fellow merpeople who live beneath the water told me not to worry so, but I could not help myself. I have always been fond of you humans. It was rather sobering sitting here night after night all on my own. It gets so lonely here. There's the title again. Now, that is an interesting turn of phrase. It catches inside your head like a burr. Have you heard it before? So, dear human, did you say that you are unfamiliar with these parts? Okay, so I'm guessing based on this line, the have you heard it before, that my character has lost her memory when she went back after getting killed, which makes sense. Hesitantly, you examine the mermaid. Thoughtless though you might be at times, you are not so very self-centered that you cannot detect a note of longing in the mermaid's voice. It is evident, as she looks at you, that she is hoping for a particular answer to her query. This answer, alas, is not one that you can furnish her with. You do not want to lie to her. It is after some hesitation, therefore, that you reaffirm your earlier words, though this time you embellish them. You tell the mermaid that you are a traveler from a far-off land, one which is very dissimilar to this one. It is not a complete fabrication. You tell her that you have only just arrived by this shore, and you are unfamiliar both with your immediate surroundings and those further afield. If there is a village nearby, you have never set foot in it. You do not know what this village is like, nor how many inhabitants it boasts. You do not know if a calamity, as the mermaid grimly supposed, has struck this land. Okay, that makes sense. So everybody here is dead, but not everybody in the world. But if she fears all the humans within the immediate vicinity have been laid low by some mysterious malady, then she needn't overly worry on that score. You are still alive. Are you not, you wonder, enough to satiate her curiosity with the human realm? Yes, that is true. You are here. I am grateful, naturally, for your company, although... Wistfully, the mermaid sighs. I was rather hoping you might be able to bring me some news of the nearby village and of its inhabitants. This makes you wonder. Was there a particular person from this village she was close to? So, you were able to work that much out, the mermaid answers with a small smile. You are an intelligent one, aren't you? Your past professors would beg to differ on that score. You were always awful when it came to academics, mathematics in particular. You could never get your head around all of the numbers. Your stern, stony-faced math professor used to despair in you, but she is not here. None of them are here. It is just you now, and the mermaid, and she does not need to know about your dismal academic record. You allow yourself a small smile, touched by her compliment, and tell her that it was nothing more than a lucky guess. For a guess, it was remarkably accurate. You are quite right. I did have a close friend from the nearby village. She was very dear to me. Internally, you congratulate yourself on this piece of detective work. How very clever you are. There are many humans in this world, of that I know. The human who spoke with me, however, was special. She was my human. You do not fail to catch the possessive note in the mermaid's voice. And I cherished her dearly. She would come to me on my rock late at night when she was finished with her chores, and we would talk. I asked her a good number of questions about the human realm and about her customs. I fear my endless inquiries must have been rather tedious, but she was always happy to indulge me. She never once scorned me for my ignorance, and neither did she make me feel like a fool. She always made time for me, no matter how many demands she had on her time. She was a farmer's daughter, and she was awfully busy from the dawn until the dusk, threshing hay and taking the animals out to pasture. She told me of her work, and I marveled at her. Slender though she was, she possessed a truly tremendous amount of strength. I'm so on guard for fancy words to pop up in this game that I didn't realize that that's just tremendous. I, who lived in the ocean all my life, cannot countenance working as hard as she did, but she bore her burdens without complaining. She was not the prettiest human who walked the earth, but that mattered not to me. Her conversation was engaging, and I knew through our continued encounters that she meant no ill will. She did not have even a single drop of malice in her heart. The wistful manner in which the mermaid speaks of her friend makes you feel, for a few brief moments, a flicker of some ugly, primordial emotion. Stick to that feeling. Run! Run away! She's gonna drown you, probably. Could it be jealousy? Oh, never mind. No, she's not suspicious of the mermaid. She's jealous of the human. God damn it. It is painful, isn't it, to hear others wax poetic about those they hold dear, particularly when you yourself have never been regarded in so intimate a manner. You have for many, many years been woefully alone, but you are not alone now. You are with the mermaid, and she is with you, and though she might prefer to be in the company of an industrious farmhand, the farmhand is not here. Where did she go? Oh, if only I knew. She quite simply disappeared one day, almost as if she had been whisked away by a wicked spirit. That seems like quite the anticlimactic ending for such a close relationship. Did the farmhand not tell her companion beforehand that she might not one day disappear? No, she did not. Nothing of the sort happened. It was all very sudden. So, you ask, feeling affronted upon the mermaid's behalf, did she not give you any warning? Not a single one. And when, you ask, did she disappear? I do not know, in truth. Time is a strange concept to beings such as myself, particularly as it seems to ebb and flow differently both above and below the surface. You humans have a strange compulsion to pin down and to place labels upon everything. You have names for your seasons and for your months and even for your days of the week. It is all very precise. We merfolk, however, do not bother with such affairs, perhaps because we live for so much longer than you humans do. We have no need to obsessively document our days, not when we have so many of them at our disposal. This curious remark catches your attention. How long exactly do mermaids live for? The mermaid does not look much older than you do, but you cannot help but wonder. My, nosy, aren't we? The mermaid asks, and she laughs, a soft tinkling sound like that of a bell which makes you blush. Were you being nosy? Perhaps you were. You have always had a thirst for knowledge, not of the dry, dusty academic variety, but of stories peopled with strange persons. Yeah, that is what that says. Literature was the only subject you were ever any good at. Again, it is hard for me to quantify, but to put it in terms of a human like you could understand, I suppose we mermaids can live for centuries. Centuries? That is quite the surprise. But perhaps it shouldn't be. You have been subjected to a number of surprises tonight. What is one more to add to the pile? I have not been waiting quite that long, however, for my friend to return to me. I think it has been but a few seasons. It might not sound like much, but never before have I been so aware of the passage of time. I have experienced any number of wants during my life, but I have never wanted anything quite so badly as I want to see her. I wish she would sit with me and she would talk with me just one more time. But perhaps I am asking for an impossibility. I have been waiting for long enough now to presume that she will not be returning to me. I fear that something must have happened to her, or to her family, or perhaps to her whole village. You can hear the worry throbbing through the mermaid's voice, so potent that perhaps for a few moments you swear you can feel the depths of her sorrow within your own breast. Her sadness over this human girl is a deep, dark thing, almost fathomless. You cannot let yourself indulge for it too long. Otherwise, you fear you might drown in it. It's hinting. We're gonna be drowned. Ruefully, you tell the mermaid once more that you cannot help her. You are only a traveler, after all. What do you know of a single, insignificant farmhand in a nearby village? Yes, I thought you might say that. It is quite unfortunate, but, well, I ought not to reflect upon all that I am missing. That would be churlish of me, and it would not be fair to you either. You did not approach me, I am sure, with the hope of hearing about all of my woes. I should be grateful, instead, for all that it is I do have. I still have my long, long life, which stretches before me like a golden cord, and, of course, I have you now. Does she? Do I not? I ought to go soon before my absence is noticed, but will you not come and visit me again tomorrow night? I think I would like that. I have always enjoyed speaking to humans. You make me feel less alone. You cannot help but feel, as the mermaid observes you with those enchanting eyes of her, that she does not truly wish to speak to you for your sake. She wants to use you instead as a substitute for the farmhand that she has been missing so very ardently. The thought stings, though you really ought to be used to it. Still, to be held in lower esteem than a farmhand of all things, it makes your self-esteem sting. You try not to let the mermaid notice this, though. The woes of your past are not her fault, much as the woes of her past are not yours. It is silly, in any case, to be jealous of a girl who might very well be dead. That is what you tell yourself. It is the only way to prop up your bruised sense of self-worth. You would tell the mermaid after a pause that you like to see her again. You would like that very much. Oh, thank you. I have been feeling very gloomy for quite some time, but seeing you has invigorated me. Finally, it feels as though I can smile again. Did she not smile, you wonder, after her friend disappeared? I did not know. I did not have the heart. Without her, the world seemed very dull and drab. Your company has cheered me immensely. This is why I like humans so much. You are not callous and unfeeling like the merfolk who live beneath the water's surface. You're much kinder than they are. Oh, if only she knew. If the mermaid was aware, I wonder, of how petty you are and how jealous, would she still care for you? Well, that's neither here nor there. You agree to meet with the mermaid come sundown the following night, and then make your slow stumbling way back up the cliffs, then to the cottage you have purloined on your own, as your own. Once indoors, you settle down upon your pallet, and then you close your eyes. And that is a good point to end things for now. likely to wake up and then be drowned tomorrow. Well, probably not tomorrow. I'll probably do another time skip like the other thing did. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I'm gonna keep trying to make videos every other day. That was my plan. I don't know if my voice can handle that. I might need to take a break. Yeah, anyways, see you next time. Bye-bye.